I don't know where it stopped recording, but I think we were talking about there were 400,000 men in Calais.
Yeah. Well, the town was outside of Calais.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I get called into the orderly room and they say, we're going to keep you here because you're the only guy around here that knows how to fix radios. I'm a private. I say, yes, sir. So, anyhow, my name came up on shipping orders to go into a corps unit as a CW radio operator. And I carried a staff rating, and of course I'm a private. I wanted that staff rating. So, anyhow, just before I'm ready to move out, I go into the orderly room and I tell him, I say, "So long, Sergeant, I'm reassigned." He says, "What?" He says, We'll take your name off the list." I says, "No, you don't." I says, "That's a staff sergeant rating," and I says, "I'm taking it." So, anyhow, I get shipped over to this corps unit, and we're already assigned to the boat to go to the South Pacific. Well, we're getting ready, and then they drop the bomb.
Oh, okay.
First bomb. All right?
Hold on. Okay. I'm almost out of batteries.
Oh.
We're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay. They dropped the first bomb, and then the second bomb was dropped, and that basically ended the war. Okay? The boat that I was assigned to was already, the assignment was already there. We got on the boat. Instead of the boat going to the South Pacific, that boat went back to New York.
Okay, so that's the end of that.
Okay.
But very quickly, I remember you once mentioned, how did you get your promotion to corporal?
Well, when I was in the 8th Armored Division, I was promoted to I was promoted to corporal because that was my rating I was supposed to have.
No, wait a minute. No, I'm not talking about that. When you were in the reserves.
Oh, in the reserve?
Yeah. After the war.
What happened was we had one of our P-51s that was cracked up in the field.
So it had crashed?
Yep.
And
there's gasoline all over the field. So I was on guard duty, and I was assigned to cover that. The commander of the base came by. He was a colonel. He comes by and he goes to strike a cigarette. I told him, I said, "No smoking here, sir." And he gives me some back talk about it, me ordering him about that.
So wait, so you were a private?
Yeah.
And you told this, was he a colonel or?
He's a colonel.
So you told this colonel no smoking?
No smoking?
Because there was gasoline all over the place.
Yeah. Anyway, he gets mad, he takes my name, he turns me in.
Wait, you left a part out though.
Huh?
You left a part out. You left a part out.
Yeah.
You left out the part where you picked up your gun.
Well, I had my gun, but I didn't have any ammunition. He didn't know that.
He didn't know that, but you had picked up your gun to motion him to tell.
I had my gun.
And you told him to put out the lighter, right?
I told him no smoking here, sir.
But you had pointed your gun at him.
I pointed the gun at him, of course.
Even though there was no ammo in it, he didn't know that.
He didn't know I didn't have any ammo.
Would you have shot him?
If I had to, I would have shot him.
Well, who gave you the orders to say no smoking?
Well, these are the orders of the officer of the day.
Oh, okay. So it was a logical reason. They didn't want the plane to blow up. You know, they didn't want another fire, right?
Well, the thing is, when you're on guard duty, you have responsibilities.
Right.
And the general orders are, you walk your post in the military commander, and you take those ships to the company commander. Well,
apparently you took it to heart. So this guy's about to light up his cigarette.
Yeah.
Or his pipe, whatever, and you point your gun at him. You tell him to put it out. So he gets mad at you.
Yeah.
You take, what's your name? Or he writes down your name, and then he goes to report you. And then what happened?
Goes back to Washington. He got reprimanded.
And you got a promotion. Well, that's when you got a promotion to corporal, right?
Right. Well, I wasn't concerned about that.
But you were working at RCA at the time, or
What?
where were you working at that point?
I was working for General Electric.
This was an electrical engineer, or?
No. A first piece inspector.
Oh, okay. What were you What was their product that you were inspecting?
Garbage disposals.
Garbage disposals.
They were the developer of the garbage disposal.
General Electric, yeah, that's right.
This was a pilot plant.
Yeah, that was when they first made them. Yeah.
We had 3 shifts running.
Huh. So you'd make sure that everything was aligned properly and just keep up quality.
Well, I don't know, I made with overtime and everything, and I was also going to night school.
That's what you were going to RCA Institutes?
Yeah, I started back at RCA Institutes.
Studying electrical engineering?
Electronics engineering.
Oh, electronics engineering, yeah.
So, anyway, that was basically a 6-year program.
Just very quickly, just because the phone's almost about to run out of batteries, can you tell me what you were saying about the weld puddle? Essentially, the puddle becoming a secondary turn of the circuit.
I don't know what you said to me.
When you're welding and you have the weld puddle,
Yeah.
you're saying that in a sense the weld puddle becomes the secondary turn.
Right. This is something I only recently realized.
It's when you think about it, it makes sense because we think of the weld puddle as just being this molten steel, but it's highly conductive.
It's highly conductive, and the other thing is the energy is not released directly in the periphery of the arc.
Right.
It's released at the end of the spark, the end of that, and it's not actually you have to look at the arc as being essentially a form of a transformer winding.
Well, that's the interesting part to me is when you think of the welding system, in that I guess the way you're describing it, at least, you could model the system as the welder would be the primary winding, and the weld puddle would be the secondary winding, and you have an inductive coupling through those. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Well, you had an inductive coupling to the weld puddle, but when you have that coupling, basically the voltage that you have in the arc basically translates to a current.
Yeah, see, to me that's a very interesting thought, because that goes to explain how the eddy current seam tracking system works. Because when you explain the welding system as a primary and a secondary winding, and the secondary winding is essentially going through a 3-dimensional, I guess you could say it's a 3-dimensional amorphous fluid, and the eddy, you will develop eddy currents, because whenever you have that electrical circuit there, you're generating secondary magnetic fields. So you would have the eddy current. And so your method, I guess, was using the eddy current to find the center of that weld puddle, right?
The eddy currents are not very secondary. No, basically you're going from a voltage, which is basically in turns of voltage.
Right.
Basically equivalent to turns of wire. All right. And at the surface of the weld puddle, that voltage is basically translated into a current.
Right. That's right.
That current is very strong. All right. It's actually more than what you're reading off of the meter, because you're translating the voltage into a current, and that's not being read on the meter. All right. The only thing you're reading on the meter is the current, which basically you're sending into the arc.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're developing a secondary current, which is actually stronger. So you're translating the voltage field to a current field, and that current field basically is where you're generating your thermal energy.
Oh, hold on.
All right.
Hold on.